Right. Okay, turn the thing on. Ba-ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. I can never remember which one it is. But we'll try this one, see if it does it. Ooh, 51.52 grams. That's epic, because let's go to units so you can actually see. Where's the units? Go mode. Nope, we'll go mode. Grain, there we go. Dry weight, ounce weight. Don't know what that one is. Carats. This one is 257. So we can get that away from the light. 257.6 carats. That's a pretty big opal. Let's try this guy. Back to 0. This one's heavier, I think. 327. 257 plus 327. 570, 84. 584 carats. Probably 585 carats. That's a lot of carats. And that's just 2 rocks. Let's have a look at the... Okay, so what I've done here is I've drawn a little mark on the rock itself. That tells me where the colour band happens to be, because it's not very pronounced. Yeah, I can see it. It's right near the cracks. So I'm probably going to have to cut across those cracks. So look at this one. Has this one got any markings on it whatsoever? I think it's got a slight marking across the top there. Yeah. So that's me saying, please have some colour underneath. All right. We'll turn those off. Now I've got some other creatures to pacify. Hello there, Max. Poor Max. I had to clean up prior to doing the stream, because you like to pretend that you've got it all together as a human being. Hello. Nom 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 nom. That's right. It's alright, I'm cleaning it now. You saw correctly. Lakey, you want to scratch your poo? Oh, thank you for the likey poo. All right, here. Would you like one of these? Long. When you think about it, it's bird parts. Chicken drumstick. Hello, Pony. Can you tell everyone your very happy news? I laid 2 eggs. I laid some eggs. I took them away from you, didn't I? Aren't I nasty? They weren't fertilised. Yeah, well. Right, where's those opals? Yoink! Point it at the bird, get 17 views. Don't point it at the bird, get less than 17 views, I think. Is that how this works? Just doing a bit of an experiment. 8 views, 1 more view, that's good. Going to do opals now. Is that like bait and switch marketing? I don't know. I'm Dr. Phil, by the way. This is my live stream. And usually I do anything that takes my fancy, really. But a lot of the time it's opals, a lot of the time it's birds. And it's ecology and it's wildlife and it's, you know, sometimes computer programming, sometimes other things. It just depends on what my fancy is taking. Now, been doing a few little experiments with me opals. There's my mother lode just down there. Yoink. And then we're going to get into it because I've been trying to grease my equipment, my apparatus, and I've also put a sneaky bit of padding down the back. And the hope is that with all of that padding, with all that greasing, that it's a lot quieter. And yes, it is. The vibrations have been reduced quite substantially, which is great. Except I sprayed along the brushes of the entrance with a bit of WD-40. Now, if you don't understand what that means, people who are technically minded understand what I've just done. I've basically continually bridged the contact between the brushes and the motor, which means that the thing is going at full bore at any given time, which is not ideal, but hopefully it will have gotten it out of the system by the time we get started. So let's have a look at these guys. Might want to turn on the water. We're close. We're running on fumes here. Should have checked that. I've been doing all the other things. There's always something. I forgot to bring my energy drink out. It's sad. So I'm just going to quickly fill up the top tank. I fill it up a specific way because what happens is that when I put water in, there's a chance it's dust contaminated and all that sort of stuff. So I run it through essentially the hydraulic system that is my tanks. I'll show you. Pick up this and show you what's going on. There is my indicator. Now all of this is hydraulically linked. You don't have to actually worry about, powering it, because it uses the amazing power of gravity. God, gee, as they sometimes call it in Air Force. So you just go over to here. Oh, look, a funnel. Yoink. Now, because we've got many litres, I think we can assume that that's 3 gallons. I don't know for sure. 15 litres. Someone will probably know the conversion into pounds, shillings and pence. Freedom units, which are oddly imperial. Empire. Oh well. Don't ask me how it all works. Okay, I'll show you so the empty marker has just gone to a little bit above empty now. Yay! And that'll rise ever so painfully slowly because, well, it's not calibrated at the moment. It's a little bit above empty. But here we go. Let's see if this works. Well, yes. Not exactly what I was hoping for. I'm going to try and add a cover or two. I've got this sound dampening cover jig that I'll just put on. Try and keep this down. But mostly it's vibration, so that's not doing squat. So let's cut an opal or two and see what happens. Hopefully it'll calm itself down a little while. Water on. Tell you one thing, it gets it done fast. Sorry about this. It's always something. This silly thing, it's always not quite at the right spot, and so I move it, and then it goes, you know what, I think that's my cue to get out and dodge. All right. I can hear that it's slowly returning to normal. Slowly, ever so. we've got something interesting to look at. Now look at the other side too. We'll pop that. Yeah, that's better. This is two-toned. Basically, there's an angle going this way, and there's an angle going the exact opposite direction. It's very weird. That's what makes Opal fun. Hello, Brandon, how you doing? So, Brandon said hi. Seeing if it's... Oh, I'm coping. I had a lot of fun. I've been diverted a little bit away from opal cutting because I've been working on my gold and silver recovery operation. That's nearly set up now. In a few days, or maybe even tomorrow, it'll be at a stage where I'm not totally ashamed of the state of the garage. So I'll show you the whole operation. And I've decided also to... I'm not an expert by any means, but I do have a knowledge of chemistry. There's a lot of mythology that goes into the production of gold. So I thought I might give people a bit of a rundown if they want to have a crack at it. Sorry about the riveting view, but I had to get that done. Alright, so we just go yoik, 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 yoik. Yep, yep, yep. I'm hoping this is worth it. And there's a band just show you what I'm going for. See that tiny little amount of colour there? I'm wondering whether that can actually get better. It might not. That's what it is. Still a little bit. There we go. Hopefully fixed. Sometimes this yin and yang thing happens with these opals. Very weird. going to do much more work on this because it doesn't look like it's going to yield anything, so I'm not going to waste everybody's time. But I will do a bit of CAD practice because it's not a bad idea to always do a bit of CAD practice. CAD practice is simply the art of turning a rock into a cabochon, which is a fancy type of jewellery. Not really. Basically the basic type of jewellery. Oh, 3 likes. Thank you, guys. Let's just go around the edges. Relatively simple. May well glow in the sunlight, so I'm not particularly interested in grinding the whole thing to dust. Guess as soon as it's uniform, not all that uniform, so let's just uniformise it. Better than euphonizing it, I suppose. I think there is a little bit of colour behind there, so I'm happy to just let that shine in the sun when the time comes. Grab the other side here, I'll do that later. Let's have a bit of an exploration session all around the airport. What we're actually going to do is we're going to stop and I will fix this up for good, because it's not that hard to fix. Find out where the optimal point is, and then grab a few sticks and wedge it with a hammer. Okay, here we go. Let's move this over here. We'll move this out so you can see what's going on. First things first, if he's just jamming, yeah? Only one man gives me the raspberry. Lone Star. 10 points if you know where that came from. As you can see, very sophisticated. Might even use the pointy end of the hammer. That sounds like a great idea in a fish tank. Come on. Get in there. I'll snap it off once it's done. Snap one off. What are you? Now, if anyone says that like communities around the world are fractured and YouTube is only there to drive wedges, well, partially right. Trying to do this without damaging your blade is actually quite difficult, but I think that's good enough. Let's go again. Pretty light on, but it's not that bad in open colour when you try and get some of it to sparkle for you. Matter of fact, you can see it like that, so I've got to take this down a bit. That's better. Alright, at least we've got one success out of the way. A bit unstable, let's see what happens. There's a bit of colour in that one. Not whole breath worthy, but you know, enough. Let's see if this thing's got anything in it. It's just jammed on the back here, so I've got no choice but to remove it, which of course has its own problems. So I left the sand on and just become unstable. It snaps. Snap back to reality. Up the good gravity. Up the good Okay, there we go. This stone has got interesting layering, we'll call it that. We're going to have to cut it through the sand base. There's nothing else for it. Encouraging sign that the opal is giving me resistance, means that we may have some colour under here. We do too, look at that. Oh yeah, check this out. Colour enhanced. Right, let's finish this bad boy off, shall we? Once again, I've got no choice but to keep cutting until the opal comes good. Here. Oh my goodness, look at that. The opal is now expressing itself on multiple fronts.
Right, so everyone repeat after me. That's not a defect, that's a high gain. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in this somewhat reduced state because I don't want to make any mistakes, and I'll stop it up to make sure that we don't make any mistakes. I may have to cut this one in half, but I'll try not to. That's a pretty nice opening here. Alright, we're running out of time rapidly, so we're going to be going to magnum opal now. This is the other half of that, so let's see if we can get something out of it. Okay, we're not flogging that down for a second further. Going to take the skin off this one because I've always been curious. It's been sitting in my opal collection for quite some time. See, we've got a raging bull of an algorithm here. It's algorithm. Or Dremel. Sure, there's algorithms involved. There always is, but that's a note. See what we can do with this one. having opal rules? It's an interesting question. It's mostly a hobby thing. There are professional opal cutters out there who do very good jobs. But basically, a lot of this is homegrown. What I would say is there are a few safety rules that you probably should be following. For example, you've always got to cut them underwater, unless of course they're Ethiopian opals, in which case you've got to wear gas masks and stuff. That's just because silicosis is dangerous and a thing. You don't want to be breathing in opal dust. Now I'm hopeful that this has got some colour underneath it, but there is no guarantee, definitely in this case. Now there are people who do courses in tapes and stuff like that, but for me I'm self-taught. Or self-not taught, as the case may be. Really take the back off, but it's not looking good. To give you some added context, I'm actually a soil scientist, so I'm not coming from complete nothing. Backside, nothing. Right. This is what I think it is. It's very unnoticeable until you see it, in which case it's a really, really amazing colour. But we'll see. Okay, that sound is a good sound, hopefully anyway. Hopefully it's not the motor burning itself out, but the lubricant's finally not bridging too many arms. That one didn't work out. I ended up snapping the bit off myself. See what's underneath. This is the bit that's intriguing me. think the blades had it. That was more material coming off than I expected with the dodgy blade, and so I halved the size of the opal instantly. Whee! Right. Not the same one, but let's have a quick look. We uncover something nice, and then we're going. Something nice uncovered at least, but how deep-seated is it? Probably not very. Hello there, how you doing? I'm not good with my Cyrillic text. No, that one's no good either. That's it, we're stopping it though. It was too late at night, I'd say. I probably should have moved the seat further in because I was a bit cramped up after all that. There we go. Turned off the water. Saline diode effect. Whoa, there we are. Yoink, 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 yoink. Extricate yourself. You gotta extricate yourself from the opal. The moment you get there, you're gonna break your back. Hey, Loki. Got to get the gas heater out of the garage because it's getting cold. Yes, Australia gets cold. It's pretty late at night here, but they haven't been out all day, so I'm going to let them out. Loki won't want to go out. Max is absolutely desperate. And Max is that one over there. There we go. Would you like a scratchy poo? Yeah, you would you? Come here. There you go. This one's very distrustful of humans, so I'm very cautious with the scratches. He might bite me, but that's all right. He's not here to be my performing animal. He's here because he was in a bad way, and so we're just sitting here. We're co-residents in the same house. He doesn't pay rent. He's on the Dr. Phil welfare scheme. But other than that,
What I'm doing at the moment is getting all of the sheathing off the feathers, because they can't get them. Here, have a look at this feather, crest feather. So you can just break that. You've got to be careful how you break it. Take the sheathing off, then give the feather a bit of a zhooshing. They like that. All right, come on, mate. Want me to get out? Hey, Loki. You have the same problems. A few feather sheaths here. That's the look of a bird who's absolutely loving life. That's the look of a bird who's got a skewy crest. What's going on with your crest, buddy? Scratchy poo? So we'll look at your crest. No, there it is, that one. Sorry, not ready to go yet? Okay, let's try this one. How's your old lug holes coping, huh? You want me to give you a bit of scratch there? Scratch behind the ears? Yeah, you're loving that. Okay. Imagine if you have a little sharp, spiky feather that sometimes goes into your ear hole. If you're wondering why Max is liking this so much, that's the reason. That hurt, sorry. Well, alright. I'm not going to poke the camera in your face. Come here, Loki. Oh boy, it's been a tough week. Max is just over there, regretting his life choices. What's wrong, Loki? At any rate, that's the week done. Oh. Can I have my eye back? Thanks, mate. That was a bit naughty. So it was interesting times for all. Yep, done some opal cutting, done some de-sheathing of birds. Bet half of you didn't realise that's what you're going to be watching tonight. Bird de-sheathing. By the way, when I was putting my face up to Loki, I don't very often do that. And it's not because she's unpredictable and will bite me. It's because you just don't do that with cockatoos, really. So I really got what I deserved. So remember that. Whoop. Yeah, see? Payback's a bitch, isn't it? Just systematically going through every single feather that she's got, finding out if they're sheathed or not. There's something kind of relaxing about doing it. Very ASMR kind of thing. One of these days, bird de-sheathing might be up there with pimple popping and whatever else they do. There we go. Okay. Hey, Pony. Yoink. Come here. Be careful. Come here. Come back. That's way. Yoink. Splat. It's alright, I got you. And this is Pony. Pony. Wait, Pony. Say good night to the people. Good night, people. Very good. Alright. Well, I hope you have a nice evening or whatever time of day it is over in your neck of the woods. Like and subscribe on the way out if you enjoyed what you saw. Don't forget to be good to everybody. Don't forget to eat your vegetables. I think that's about all we need to worry about. Dr. Phil out.